Who ready? We ready. Who ready? We ready. Who ready? Who? We ready. Who? Who ready? Who? We ready. Who? Motivation to youth only. Mentally feel like Kobe. I'm like Jokic with the rock. You physically couldn't hold me. I don't care if you pushing 40. You can never little bro me. Euro step like Ginobili. From young OG to the OG. From nosebleeds to floor seats. Circle stronger than Cuban links. My gold dance, your gold plated. You verse me, now that's a reach. We ready. Who ready?
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the One-on-One Sports Show right here on the BMU Network. Good to be with you guys on this Wednesday. I'm Mr. Bennett, followed by my partner, as always, Brother Dante, Brother Shawnee, and Coach. Hopefully they'll be joining us shortly tonight, but good to have you guys with us. Certainly as you come in tonight, make sure you hit the like button. Certainly as you come in, helps the algorithm. Also our Cash Apps for the BMU Network, as well as our own personal, will be scrolling at the bottom of the screen. So certainly we appreciate any help that you give us. We appreciate it. But good to be here for you on this Super Bowl Eve. But just as we're about to talk about this, I mean, the whole show was just slated to talk about the Super Bowl. The NBA, they had to have their say over things that's going on. But before we get into all that, let me just do a quick check, especially on the two men here. Now, it's so apropos that with this news breaking, we have guys who are very intimately involved, very intimately knowledgeable of this situation. First of all, we have Brother Dante. Vanessa, the century is the stat. How you doing tonight, sir? Good to see you. What's going on?
Wonderful. I'm doing wonderful, man.
He's doing wonderful. He's got a smile on his face. I think you might be too much involved. I'm thinking, wait a minute. How is it that you're both a Cowboys fan, a Dallas fan, Cowboys fan, and a Lakers fan? And it just seems like, just like always, the two sports franchises that have to keep themselves in the news. Good, bad, or indifferent. It's the Cowboys, which we talked about on the last show, and now it's the Lakers, the biggest front runners in sports history. But before we get into all that, Brother Shawnee, how you doing tonight, sir? Good to see you. What's going on?
I'm good. Thought I was having some technical difficulties when I was trying to log on, but I'm good.
You sound good. You sound great. Yeah, so it has been certainly a whirlwind situation in the NBA. The blockbuster trade, maybe the biggest, I'm trying to remember, has there been another big trade in NBA history?
I don't know if it may be the biggest, but it's definitely most shocking.
I'm trying. So what was bigger then? If this isn't the biggest, what would you think? What would you call the biggest trade in history then? If it wasn't this one?
Well, I mean, this may be up there because
this is up there.
This is the first time that first team All Pros was traded in the mid-season.
Yeah.
Normally, the players of those calibers, they would demand trades, but they getting traded in the midseason means your team just kick you out the door. And we're not even talking about yet all the details behind it. It's just the fact that you got traded midseason. So,
all right, well let's get it for the few. For the few who don't know, if you've been under a rock over the last few days, all right, shout out to Trey Taylor in the back. Yes, he's gloating as he always does. But he called it right. First of all, so again, Luka Doncic, who led his team to the NBA Finals against my Celtics, who I picked to win, by the way, won the championship last year, number 18, by the way. Won the championship last year. We were talking about his problems. He doesn't play defense. His shape. Yes, he averaged. I'm looking at the stats. He averaged 30 points a game in the series. He was like 39-9 for the series. And, certainly, we talked about this earlier in the year. Would he be worth it? He was eligible. He's in the league 5 years. He's been in 5-time All-NBA, 5-time All-Star, eligible for a Supermax deal of about $355 million. All right. And in the blockbuster of trades, they trade him to the Lakers. Now, again, I can see him going anywhere else, but I'm not feeling this trade simply because they're going to the Lakers. Somehow, just like the Lakers, they got Kareem, they got Wilt, And now they get Luka Doncic to pair with LeBron. In exchange, they get Anthony Davis and a couple guys even worth mentioning. But again, the press conferences and everything was pretty clear. I mean, you didn't have to read too much between the lines. Dallas was not happy with his shape, with his condition, talking about the rumors that, man had to take a beer out of his hands. My man loved his beer and just was not dedicated to the game. And so the GM was calling around. He has a very good relationship with Pelinka from the Lakers, and threw it out there. The Lakers were open to it. Pelinka ran it by Jeannie. She was like, "Yeah, let's do this."
Real quick, it looks like Jimmy Butler finally got traded.
He did. Okay. To where? I think they were talking
Warriors. Warriors.
He got traded to the Warriors?
He got sent to the Warriors. He received Andrew Wiggins, Dennis Schroeder, and Kyle Anderson in a first round pick.
Wow.
Shout out to my boy AC. He sent that to me in my group chat.
All right, let me. I gotta digest that one because I'm thinking Jimmy Butler and Damon Green on the same team. I don't know how that's going.
A lot of temper. That's a sensitive situation right there.
Yeah, I don't know, but that one we may let's circle back around on that one. Process that's pretty wild itself. But in any event, but actually let's bring up the Jimmy Butler, because what I'm seeing here is this is basically the owners. From what I'm seeing, the owners are flexing because of what Jimmy Butler tried to do in Miami. Now you have with Luka, again, Dallas not want to pay him that deal. And from what I also understand, LeBron, who was, kind of like a shadow GM, AD was his boy, same Clutch Sports. From what I understand, LeBron was not in the know on this trade. They didn't consult him first. They didn't say anything before the trade went down. And so, so the players are shocked. It's like, man, this guy's 25 years old. And, it's like, who's safe? If he could be traded, then anybody could be traded. So it's almost as if the owners are saying enough with these players running the league and dictating terms and playing their way out of, misbehaving, playing themselves out of situation. I mean, in fact, Jimmy Butler went to the Warriors. Again, I'm shocked because I know they were talking about possibly KD returning, because I think he's on the trade block in Phoenix. So maybe him rejoining the Warriors. So I'm like, but I don't think bad behavior should be rewarded. But once again, Jimmy Butler's played himself out of a situation. He did the same thing in Philly. He did the same thing with, other teams he's been on. And now he's in this situation. But, I mean, I think just offhand, I think both kind of got something back. I mean, I think Anthony Davis to Dallas, I think that could be a good thing for Dallas. I know Dallas isn't playing that well right now. The Lakers are actually playing very well. They won, I think, 9 out of the last 11 games. You add Luka to the mix. We'll see. We'll see what happens there. But I'm gonna turn this over to you guys. What was your thoughts when you first heard about the trade? What is your feeling now for this season? Because I think the Lakers are currently 4th in the Western Conference, and so what do you think of the future? Because again, I think a lot, and in some instances, the Lakers were telling LeBron, "You're not running this." So I thought that was kind of very telling also. So let's start with Dante, since he's the Laker fan, which I still can't believe, but he's the Laker fan. He's from Dallas. He's intimate with Dallas sports. And so I'll give it to you first, and we'll go to Shawnee and then Coach, and then you let us, we'll come back around.
Man, what's funny about that, and obviously, Coach, I know you – I get a lot of flack. This is the first time in a while I've gotten flack from being a Lakers fan. I literally got on the elevator at work with my Lakers cup, and they was like, bold choice. And like, so the tensions and the sensitivity of Maverick fans, rightfully so, you lost the superstar at the age of 25. But where I was studying for my test, So I was blocking out. I had just actually came from visiting my mother, helping some stuff. So I got to hear that, hey, we're going to win the game. Everything's good. We're winning the game. Everything's happy and fine. One of the players in the trade, Max Christie, a valuable 3-and-D player that I think the Mavericks will like with the way they're building their team now. He's going to fit with that. So I'm hearing my phone blow up. Well, I'm being disciplined. I'm like, and so I pick up my phone, and I was just like, why is the Laker podcast I watched, why are they talking about Luka getting traded to the Mavs? I was like, this is a hoax. I go into the feed, and it has a tweet the size of like our screen, and it shows the tweet from Shams. And I'm like, then I go to Twitter, and I'm like, so this is really real? Like, I'm just confused. I'm like, what's the other shoe to drop? Does he have a terminal illness? Like this, does he have a bad season career-ending injury? What are they hiding? And then to hear Nico Harrison break it down and not give a good explanation for this at all. It didn't for as long as he had been at Nike, didn't seem comfortable in front of talking with people. He didn't deliver this very well. You can see the look on Jason Kidd's face. He didn't take this very well. Everyone is not happy. The Dallas Fort Worth Metroplex is treating Anthony Davis like he's just a complete, like he wasn't on the top 75 all time. This just the pure anger. I think they'll subside, but if they don't win, he's gone in 2 years. If they don't win, he is gone in 2 years because you traded a 25-year-old. He'll be 32 in March. So he's still I would say in prime, still give you, good averages, points, still defending. He's able to play the four where he's comfortable playing. So that's going to really help the Mavericks, especially if they get in a matchup with like Denver, where you got enough bigs to handle it. You'll get Lively back, the young center. But it's just one of those deals that you are mortgaging that on what I've heard from locally. They said you're betting on your type of guys. You didn't mess with Luka and you just got rid of him. It was reported that they didn't have sympathy for Luka when he got hurt because he had a training staff. That training staff was fired from the Mavericks. They no longer associated with them. And so there were those type of things that with a superstar, you do acquiesce those certain things. Luke had just bought a home that was, a $15 million home. So he's somebody that planted roots, just got married, and was ready to be here long term. And as he said in the presser, he gave no indications of this. And they obviously have to clear this through ownership. And it seems like they're letting Nico Harrison, which they spoke on this on 105.3 today. As much as the Cowboys, the owner interferes, this is the ownership not interfering, trusting him, your general manager, to do his job. He did something that was controversial. He didn't explain it well at all. And I will say this, on the Lakers side, for the first time ever, LeBron, he could see the end of the road, and he didn't do as he did in other stops. I heard him say on the Bomani Jones, his show, he said that normally LeBron leaves and you just left and you win, and then he's just like, we'll rebuild after that. For the first time, the baton is getting handed to Luka right now. It's in his hands. I know that there is some doubt that LeBron knows. It's reported that Rich Paul knew when he was contacted. We don't know how well did he contact him and let him know. I'll say if he knew at the very end. He knew enough that it didn't leak to AD to try to stop it. Because both GM said, hey, if anybody reports this out, we're pulling out of the deal. This looked like this was GM to GM deal. And it's one of those, it's surprising. And for you to, I won't say get little, but for you to get these pieces, maybe there's another trade in the works. But for right now, after you just made the finals, I don't think this was the time to make this trade. I think that's the time where you wait for this. If you could keep that secret, you can keep another trade secret and you can make that trade on draft day. But a team that obviously right now is out of the playoff mix in the play-in, but easily the West is so compacted you can get back in. I just don't agree with doing it at this time. But I appreciate them for it because the future was a question mark. Because LeBron is 40, AD's 32. I appreciate them for this. We'll figure the rest out with another trade, for the trade deadline is tomorrow at 3 p.m. Eastern time. We can figure that out. We got a 25-year-old superstar, and I'm ecstatic. Mavericks fans, if y'all in the chat, I know your sympathy, you're angry, but I'll say this: Max Christie is a decent role player. Give him grace. He's young. AD is an All-NBA player and a first-team all-defensive guy. You're gonna appreciate him, but just put all your ire at the GM.
Yeah, some folks in the chat, they're saying that it's actually Dallas who won this trade. So again, there's going to be
There's
that
different
back and
opinions,
forth in
yeah.
terms of what's better for your franchise. But Shawnee, what was your thoughts on when you heard the news, and how do you think each team fares? Who got the better of this deal?
Well, when I heard about it, I was just watching TV at the time, and I saw the notification. And I was thinking that somebody got into Sham's social media and hacked it or whatnot and started playing around on it. But yeah, the trade initially was kicked off when the Lakers visited the Mavs back in January 7th. And this just remind me like an old school deal, just between the two GMs. I know you see a lot of people got this, you got this conspiracy mindset thinking LeBron knew about it. He did not know. Nobody know. Hell, even Jason Kidd did not know. Nico Harrison contacted Rob Pelinka when they were in town. I think they went out for dinner or whatnot, or he just called him. And that's when the conversation started right there. And they were, so kind of give back a timeline. So back when the Mavs was playing, because see, the national media, a lot of time, they catch up, which obvious, because obviously we live somewhere in the local beat writers and local news have by far more details than the national media do. But the national media really caught on kind of to some of the frustrations about Luka's professionalism back when the Mavs was playing against the Suns about 3 years ago. We had that playoff series. And it really wasn't about his shape at the time. It was about his constant complaining to the refs. And this was something that DFW, they noticed this fairly early in Luka's career down here. He complained. It got to the point where Luka will complain to the ref as soon as he misses, lose a ball or not. He'll be down on the other end of the court while the ball is on a fast break going the other way. And he could be complaining with the ref. So DFW was frustrated. You can hear the frustration about that, but he's such a juggernaut offensively, they were letting it slide. They didn't make the playoffs the next year. Then, of course, they went to the finals last year. Now, you really hearing the national media talking about, his out of shape at times, or definitely his complaining to the refs. So you're hearing more from the national media now. What DFW media has been talking about is lack of professionalism. So, they just come up the finals. Of course, that's not a bad thing. I mean, you lose against the finals, that's a great season. But it's because this frustration kind of been building up within the Dallas, the Mavericks brass, that we need you to give more effort into your being in shape or whatnot. And then there was a report about when they came to Luka and tried to tell him about, hey, can you be in better shape? He was like, I don't need to be in shape. I'm the star. You can't tell me what to do, something like that. So Luka's head started getting big. He on top of the world now. He basically led his team to the finals last year. Because, like I said, if this is like NBA 2K or whatnot, Luka's offense will be at 100, but everything else will be like below 10. You hear about him complaining about comparing to James Harden. James Harden, especially that first year when he was teamed with Chris Paul, you saw a better defensive player in Harden. And that's when it revealed James Harden was actually good in the post because he had a real strong base. It was just his effort that he gave. Luka, it's like he don't care about defense, and it goes to the further notch because he complains a lot. So that's when you really start seeing the frustrations grow. But yeah, his offense was just such a juggernaut. DFW, the fans was getting frustrated with it, but it's hard to be mad at a dude who is averaging over 30 points a game. And then also he's completely controlling the offense and whatnot. And once Luka is hot, he's unstoppable. He's not the most athletic dude right now, but he's hella crafty. So, yeah, when the trade was made, oh yeah, people was pissed. People was pissed, and the thing about it, people was already winding down from the Cowboys head coaching decision. You know, like you were saying, brought up earlier, this was coming off the heels of that. It was already kind of winding down from that. It is
Dallas and LA. You guys have to snatch the news always. You just can't let stuff.
They was basically like,
let it lie a little bit.
It is what it is with the Cowboys. Some people, you know, it is what it is. But then all of a sudden, because this trade came out of nowhere, I know we was talking about, was this the biggest trade in history? Obviously, you got to look at some. You have to look at some research and to see, but it'll be up there. But it's definitely one that you talking about. It just literally, it was no. Yes, you heard frustrations, but they just came off a finals appearance. And this dude was averaging over 30 points a game, so there was no whispers, no anything. Normally, you know, local radio, you would hear somebody about whispers, about a complaint from a player, hey, trade me, or he's unhappy. No, like Dante say, this dude recently just bought a house in an upscale neighborhood up here. He planting his roots. It was absolutely zero whispers about it. That was strictly between Pelinka and Harrison. And when it came out damn near midnight locally, some people was asleep. Some people were asleep, but they woke up to the news. So, you know, it's going to be hard. Like I say, his offensive skill set had people just gloss over the other frustrations they had with him. But I don't know who won the trade.
Yeah, I see Trey in the chat. He's like, people don't know basketball. I said that the Mavericks won the trade. There's two versions of it. Depending on how the teams do, both teams can win for what they wanted in the trade. But if you're looking at this as a trade as a GM, this guy is 25. Long term, it's always going to sting you if he has success and he turns it around and he ends up winning it all. That's something it is. And I know I see KB. I see you said about James Harden, 2.0. Hey, I understand it. James Harden is a great player. He never figured it out. He never got it done. But James's thing was in the playoffs too. He didn't always. He would play. He was durable, but in the regular season he would always wear out. Luka, as we saw, he got to the finals. He still was put as Mr. Bennett just read off his stat line in the finals. He was there, but the other things, the intangibles, the saying things into the refs. Because if you haven't gone to a game, you haven't seen it. Me and Shawnee went to a game, about a year or two ago, and you could tell. It's like when you see it and it's not the TV cutaway. It's like, yeah, he does complain a lot. So when they're saying it on TV, it's like they show you a little bit, but when you see it, it's like, man, you kind of nagging. But my thing is, this trade it was such a surprise to come like this.
Well, one thing real quick about the trade, from what I was hearing, there's people out here who's not exactly upset that Luka was traded. They was upset that the fact that the Mavericks did not shop around. Like I say, this was a conversation straight between Harrison and Pelinka, and that was it. They didn't talk to nobody else in the NBA. They didn't shop around. And the return that that was given for Luka, many thought that was small.
Yeah, but I think it would have had to be that way. I mean, you see the outrage now, the news publicly.
Well,
I mean, it would have been disastrous. So I think it had to be under the cover like this. If it would have got out, they were shopping around. It just it would have been too much of a distraction. So I think it had to be handled that way. But let's get Coach in. Coach, what were your thoughts when you heard about the trade between the two? Who benefits from this? Who got the better of the trade in your opinion? And what's the future looking like for both teams? What was your thoughts?
Yeah, I'm doing that. Hey, who's the one player in the NBA today that they always look to and say he has the best condition?
Oh, LeBron.
So if you want to get a player in shape, get him around LeBron. Luka's already categorized him as his idol, so hopefully he gets him in a little better shape, puts him in a better mindset for the off season. As far as long term, I think just based off the market, I think it was a good move for Dallas to sell. That possible $345 million.
You muffling up a little.
Yeah, you muffling a little.
I'm sorry, but yeah, I'm just sorry. But I think it's good for him. As far as Dallas is concerned, I think Dallas got the better of the two because AD was just talking about, I think 2 weeks ago, how he wanted to be more forward instead of a 5. With Lively being there as a 5, he can play the 4. I'm interested in how Kyrie and AD play together because Kyrie, when he's been the primary point guard, it didn't fare too well. So I'm interested to see that. LA is going to need another big for sure. Because right now they have a bunch of shooters. LeBron, maybe this year and next year, maybe 2 years after this year, maybe. But this is just a tale that no player is bigger than the league.
Yeah, I kind of led this.
Everybody on notice. So everybody's on notice, you know.
Yeah. That's why I kind of led the show with that. You're right.
Yeah.
Players are getting older, and you know, players go have to come into training camp in shape now. If you want $200 million, you better be in $200 million shape. So I'm not saying who got the better of it right now because you're looking at 2 25-point players. You know, on any given night, I think Luka brings a little bit more dynamic to it because he's going to have the ball. LeBron is going to be able to just be a slasher. But LA needs another big, and Dallas is going to need another point guard. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out by the end of the day tomorrow. So.
Well, Coach, you mentioned $200 million. It's actually $115 million because that's how much money that Luka lost. If he would have stayed, they would have that Supermax deal was $355. He lost. Now the fact he got traded to the Lakers, they don't have to pay that, and neither do the Lakers. So he lost $115 million on this trade. Luka,
he'll make that back up. He's going to have at least two more max contracts. He's going to have at least 2 more contracts.
It still hurts, and like they've been saying from executives. And have been, reported to the insiders, you must really don't like that guy to trade him in the middle, just trade him like that and just not give him any heads up, not talk to his agent or anything. There was some dislike that's going to come out more because they just in the middle of literally the middle of the night. It's just trading him. But it's like, if you have a vision, this is the litmus test of if you have a vision and you want to do something outside of the box. Like I said, he came from Nike. He can go back into Nike or do whatever he wants to do after this. But he has a vision, and we're going to see if his vision is right for this. Because he has the ire of the Metroplex, and I still believe if he wins a championship or championships, I think that has to soothe the pain. Because that's what it's for. You're in this to win it all.
Yeah,
I believe ownership saw him drinking.
I think there was a story, something like that. Our teammate had to take a beer out of his hand or something like that.
He's one of the
Michael Finley.
Yeah, I mean this isn't the 80s. Like you're talking 80s ball with Larry Bird and the guys in the locker room drinking beers. I mean that, but this NBA, that is like a no. But to the point that I think, first of all, I want to thank the Loves tonight. Thank you for both the $1.99 super sticker and the $4.99 super chat. Thank you so much for doing that. Appreciate you joining us. But the thing is, I think Trey made an earlier point. Luka's been playing ball since 13 years old. And I guess up to this point, he's been able to get away with it. Now, again, going into the Lakers, he's already going to be the star. LeBron may have a year or two left. I don't know if he's going to play past next year. Even LeBron, even with the work ethic that he has and everything else, will he in fact listen? I mean, to me, this is like his last shot. And then if he doesn't, then again, if you're the Lakers, is he going to be your long-term future? If LeBron can't get to him, that's how, it sounds great. Yeah, being with LeBron, but he may not listen to him either.
Well,
he is who he is. So if he played with Jason Kidd, certainly I think Jason Kidd, he had Kyrie. I mean, if those guys couldn't get him to play better, I don't know if LeBron can do it either.
Well,
I hope he does. I hope he does have influence, but that's not guaranteed either.
He looked up to Dirk. That was basically his idol. So Mavs tried several voices to get to Luka. It fell on deaf ears. I don't really know if what LeBron says will really hit in between the ears of Luka. I think
that was the player that they looked up to growing up, so it might be.
Luka's biggest motivation now is going to be himself. He's going to have a hell of chip on his shoulder because when he got the news, he'd say he was crying. That dude was hurt. So he basically, like I say, this does not happen. A player of his caliber just getting kicked out the door mid-season. So he's going to have a hell of a chip. Now, the thing about what Luka is, so we was talking about that missing money that he's going to not get from the max contract that he's going to miss out. Basically, I think they say the Lakers have until what, August 2nd, and at that time they're going to have to show something to impress Luka. Luka could put himself back on the market.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's a risk, and I agree with Hank when they was talking about who got the better deal. Short term, maybe Dallas. Long term, I believe the Lakers because
I think it's certainly it'll turn. I was looking at some stats earlier. They said that the sports lines, the odds for the Lakers before this trade was 40-1 for them to win the championship. Now it went up to 18-1. Because again, Lakers have been playing very well. They like I said, they won 9 out of the last 11, including a big win against the Clippers last night. Now you're going to add, Luka's still rehabbing. So by next week he'll be in the lineup. We'll see. Now again, as far as the big man, because again they're definitely playing small ball right now. I think the easiest thing you can do while you're still working it out. Dwight Howard's playing ball in China somewhere or something like that. They didn't call him. You can bring him back. Look, he's familiar with the organization. I think he was there for that champ. Was he there?
Yeah, he was there for the championship.
So he knows the team. He's played with LeBron, and so that's a quick fix. You can call him. He'll be on your team tomorrow. Because again, big men who play defense like that are not readily available. So I don't know what other trades and how cash strapped they're going to be to get someone in, but that's an easy call to get Dwight Howard back in the building. I would do that today. if I were LA.
He's a call you certainly would make. I know they're kicking the tires on like the Steven Adams from the Rockets, but of course everybody, because as a Lakers fan, and if you just study the move teams make, there's always a bit of a Lakers tax. And so for that Laker tax not to be added this time, I think that pissed other fan bases off, as well as now we need a center, and now I think they're going to try to tax for that. But I was looking at the contract here. Basically, Luka's under contract for the 25-26 season, and then he has a player option after that. So it's one of those deals where if he doesn't sign the extension or he doesn't indicate that he wants to, then that's when it comes to the point where you have to trade him again, and then that's when you do the trade, probably for the draft picks and things like that. But one more point I wanted to get to, as far as just as on the Lakers side, just being elated. Good old Danny Ainge helped facilitate this trade, and it was so secret that he didn't know he was helping facilitate the trade for Luka Doncic. I think this is retribution for what happened with the 2007 KG trade, where we had the better offer on the table. He's like, nah, that Celtic heart still bled green.
Celtics Lakers, baby. The rivalry is still alive and well. We're not actually going head to head, but in those the war's being done secretly now. So it's in the back rooms.
It's in the back rooms.
It's in the back rooms now, but the hate is still real.
It's still deep. It's still deep, man.
I'm telling you. I'm telling you. But again, so again, big news. But I think both teams will benefit. I want to see, because the Mavericks, I think they're just 2 games over 500 right now. So again, we'll see if they they can start to turn it up and get AD incorporated. And I think, and obviously this is going to be interesting. Certainly, should these teams do make the playoffs, and if they wind up playing each other in the playoffs, I mean that's going to bring more drama and intrigue to it as well. So again, big trade. Also, there was on the other end, Wing player for Sacramento got traded to
I was
San
just about
Antonio.
to bring that up. De'Aaron Fox. I'm
De'Aaron
watching
Fox,
him right now.
so that's
he's already looking good with the Spurs right now. He got
him and Wemby. I mean, that could be that could certainly be. There's just all this action is happening it seemed to be happening in the Western Conference.
They didn't trade CP3 for this trade, which they didn't. He's still on there because
keep him on the roster.
If you watch Chris Paul, wherever he go, his team instantly improves. His leadership is uncanny. So I was like, if he can put Fox with Paul and let Paul's leadership just get in his ear, oh hell.
Yeah.
So you seeing what they're doing, his immediate impact on the Spurs. This is his first year. Same thing with the Rockets. He did the same thing with the Thunder, and nobody even expected them to do anything.
He played so good, they wasn't supposed to make the playoffs, but they was acquiring all those picks. But Shiny, did you see your boy Chris Middleton finally got traded, man?
He finally.
That's the trouble. And it made me think. It made me think about what we had said many times, that Chris Middleton was more so of the closer. Giannis was the star to carry you 1 through 3.
He wasn't the same after they won.
Yeah, he's bad some injuries over the last couple of years. Yeah.
And you got Dame Lillard there to be the closer, and you got Giannis can still do his thing. But I know people are going to look at it like Kyle Kuzma. When Kyle Kuzma plays with structure and a good team, he'll go off and he'll be a wing defender that can give you solid defense and the scoring ability. And he's out of that. I don't know what they're gonna do in Washington. That's a cesspool.
Yeah, I think Beal got traded also. I think, right? He
I haven't seen Beal yet. I haven't seen that one yet. I'm literally watching James.
He's still with Phoenix. Bill's still with Phoenix.
That's a big contract. That's a big contract to move, and he has to agree to it because he has the no trade clause.
Right. Yeah. So again, some very obviously some interesting things going on. It's weird too because I don't unlike the NFL. It's like one thing I'm seeing with the NBA. These teams have no problem with trading guys within your conference, right? It used to be like in the NFL. It's like if you're gonna make a major trade, you want that guy out of your conference, out of your division. But these moves within the Western Conference itself, some would say even to your own detriment. Like, why would you, as the Sacramento Kings, why are you going to trade him to San Antonio? How does that help your franchise when you moving guys, making other teams within your conference stronger than you are? So this weird dynamic how the NBA works versus, say, the NFL. But it's a different philosophy when it comes to trades. We all know in the NFL now, the defensive end for the Browns, he's requesting a trade.
Myles Garrett,
yeah. So so again, would he be trading? Would he consider a trade in conference or what have you? We got to see. That. But even then, they talk about maybe him going to the West Coast team, maybe to the Rams or something like that. But no one in the AFC North wants to do business with one another. So
I think Cowboys could trade Parsons for Garrett.
That would be interesting. That would.
I wouldn't hate that, especially Myles Garrett being a local guy. He's from Arlington, so I think he would be. I think it's stronger against
he's still in his contract compared to
stronger against
Parsons.
Yeah, he's stronger against the run. I know he wants a contract extension, but I want to say I don't know where the numbers with that would be. But that's the different thing. I don't think Gary's going to trade. He won't. The smart thing to do would be to trade Parsons because you're talking about the pie and the slices. You could trade a guy and not get worse at all. You actually get short term better, long term. Hey, you'll figure it out. That's a move I wouldn't be mad at him doing. But
watch my Texans get him.
Well, Trey is confident that he will be a Commander next year.
Man, they're on the Vegas odds.
That would help.
The Vegas odds. Now, I would say they should just settle for DeMarcus Lawrence. Another Cowboy going over. Just settle for that. That whole Cowboy, that the DC connection, the Cowboy to DC connection.
Mm-hmm.
Don't worry, don't worry about Trey. Don't worry about the continuity, and you don't want to give up picks. Trey, come on, man. Y'all, go spend that free agent money somewhere else, man.
I'm telling you, yeah, definitely. So just based on what we've seen, certainly with the NBA, who comes out? At this point in time, at this point in the season, who do you think is the strongest contender to come out the West, given all the activity that's going on?
It's too early to see. I mean, I got to wait till after
the All-Star break.
Got to wait to see how teams gel. I like the way my Rockets look, but they're just too young. They currently got some injuries they need to heal up from, but they look good, but they need a little bit more firepower. But they hellified on defense. Right now, OKC has that sweet spot, but I'm looking at Sam Presti. I'm like, okay, you got another team that can contend. Let's see you actually win one. Sam Presti can put. There's no secret. That dude can put a team together in OKC. They just always fall short. So, but they young. They're well balanced. I mean, I think they have a chance to win it all. But because I don't even think they're doing all this right now without Chet Holmgren on the court.
Yeah, Chet's not even there.
Now that dude come back, then that's an added weapon.
Yeah.
Before there was Wimber, there was Holmgren. So I think OKC, forget the West. I think if they can finally click, they can win it all.
Yeah. Yeah, sure. Well, I think any team in the West, I think they're going against the Celtics again. Saw the Celtics beat Cleveland the other night.
Yeah.
So look, I just don't think Cleveland will last. I mean, it's a great story. Yeah. It's great for Cleveland so far. Are they built to go the distance against the Celtics? I don't think so.
They had a good season last year too.
So it's going to be the Celtics versus whoever. Roll the dice in the West and see who's there. But Celtics, they'll be defending their championship against somebody in East. So I'll say that for now.
What I'll say is what Cleveland needs to do, they are a team that they need to make sure they get that number one seed. They need to keep, because I want to say Boston, I think you guys have the season edge over them. Anytime that I've looked up, they haven't bowled well against y'all. They need to make sure they keep that number one seed. Now, one team I know that they are not in the play-in right now, but teams above them, or one of the teams above them are the Bulls, who are trading everybody, so they're going to drop down. I do think at some point, if they play games together, the 76ers might be able to sneak in and get into the play-in, but then they'll have to win those two games. If a team like them going up against a team like Cleveland, that's kind of dicey, just because Cleveland is like, they got some guys, but they're still kind of youngish, and you just don't know them in the playoffs. Like, they were able to beat a team like Orlando, because that's more so in the same boat, in the same weight class. But Cleveland, I would say their season is a failure if they don't make the conference finals. But I see Boston coming out of the East. The Knicks, I saw them the other night. It's like defensively, it's not there anymore. They don't have a fight. They don't have Mitchell Robinson back. That's the only team I would actually like to see Celtics and Knicks Eastern Conference Finals. I think that would be
very doable. They're 1-2 they're 1-2 in the Eastern Conference. So so the Knicks are playing certainly pretty well. So we can certainly move on from here. Obviously, there's a football game this weekend. And how do you guys usually spend your Super Bowl? Do you guys just kind of just chill with the fam or whatever? You guys do big Super Bowl parties? How do y'all celebrate the game in recent years?
I normally do a spread. If I'm at the house the last few years, because I got the little ones. Like my son just turned 3, daughter's 5, so it's kind of like, hey, they're older, so we're actually going to a Super Bowl party this year. But normally I do a big spread.
Gotcha.
I used to do something with the family. Back when I was in school, we used to, parties, but one of the in-laws probably they doing something. We just all get together and watch. I'm pretty sure there's gonna be food there, but it's kind of no different than what we typically do on the weekends already.
Gotcha. Coach, any?
I've gone to one Super Bowl party.
Just one?
Yeah, just one. Because fans get crazy during the Super Bowl, and I don't, I love to watch the game and just analyze.
Yeah.
Fans, they, I hate when fans talk about players of the week and all that. They're in the NFL, places we all wish we could have been. But I just sit back, man. My wife usually make me some little Super Bowl meals and put some wings and some dips. And
there you go.
Just sit back, man.
Well, Coach Ron, because I was coach, he's watching the game.
I'm into the game. Right?
There's no time for that excess, and I kind of feel the same way because if there's a nice atmosphere, I will talk with the people. But once again, I don't care about the halftime shows.
Yeah,
I will watch it.
They trying though. They trying. Kendrick cleaned up at the Grammys this past year, so he's going to do Super Bowl halftime show also.
I pay attention to the halftime shows, But the last 2 years, artists, like, obviously it was 1-on-1 where my wife was like, my wife and my daughter was like, hey, we're going to watch this. Like, my daughter is the quintessential, our father is a huge sports fan. It's like, hey, tell me when the halftime performance is. And then it's just like, hey, it's getting ready to come. Same thing with the Christmas Day thing. But like, Kendrick's one of my favorite artists. So I'm definitely, it's a plus. My thing is, I'm here for the game. The Super Bowl performance is more of a plus. So it's like, hey, if you're going to give me a good performance, I'll take it.
All right, so Dante, so then I got to ask you then, your top 3 greatest Super Bowl halftime shows in your humble opinion.
For my style and likings, I will say this: Prince is up there. That was a really good one. I really appreciated that one. So I'll say Prince is there. The West Coast Super Bowl, that was really in there because it's like now you're in line with things that I grew up really watching, and I'll say. I really want to pick this one, but it hasn't happened yet. So I'll say, so as far as another one, I can't really pick up other one that because the other ones have been too recent. Like the Usher was really good. It was like too recent for me to kind of serenade on it. But I'll say those two I really appreciate it.
Shawnee, what about you? Man. You don't follow? You don't do that time?
I follow like Dre. I like the Dr. Dre one last year because more than just about the show, what it signified. Because that genre of music does not make it to the Super Bowl. They'll go R&B and that's where it stops. They don't go into hip hop, in particular West Coast hip hop. So what it signified last year was nice, and they're about to do it again. Well, that wasn't last year. Whenever it was.
I think it was the year before last. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But hip hop is old now. Hip hop is 50 years old now. So I mean, it's not like it lost its kind of radical edge from back in the day. Now it's pretty mainstream.
Everybody like hip hop, but they like it, I guess, in the background for the most part. The Super Bowl, where it's supposed to appeal to everybody. He got all these people watching it. They normally don't bring, back then hip hop always had a negative connotation to it as far as mainstream America. So they didn't want to bring that crowd to the almighty Super Bowl. And, once Jay-Z and them got in there and started getting people ears, then they started, seeing it. So, but I can't, everything else was a blur, but I can say the biggest moment I never forget because I was at PV at this time. The whole Timberlake and Jazz. We was watching it in the auditorium, and we were watching the next thing you know, it just happened. I can just remember how everybody just wowed out when it happened. But as far as the shows, didn't Bruno Mars did one?
Yeah, he did.
He did a good show. Now, he wasn't my favorite. I just remember he put on a good show. But yeah, everything's just a blur. Cause like I said, I'm just watching the game for the most part. I watched the show, and then once that third quarter kickoff happened, okay, I can get off the TV now. And one more thing I don't like about Super Bowl, like I said, I do not like Super Bowl week, the week coming up, because it's cool when sports media talk to the players, but they always do that, and there's only 2 teams left now, so they, you get it's overdose now, and that's why they bringing all these legends on Radio Row. But it's them damn non-sports media that come in there all of a sudden asking these dumb questions, like Cosmopolitan magazine and all. I'm like, y'all get out of here, cause they ask all this. I don't know, man. And I'm like, man, y'all get out of here with all this gossip type questions and stuff. I'd be like, man, y'all move around.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely takes. I do wish that now. Again, it's been like this forever. So the 2-week period. And I get it, certainly 2 weeks is good for the players to get healthy because I know from the NFC Championship game, I know the Eagles' O-line was beat up pretty well, especially at center. Yeah. So it certainly gives those guys a chance to get healthy. But, yeah, I can certainly see that just all that extra that has nothing to do with the game, you got to be focused on. So I can see when my man was the running back for Seattle, he was like, thank you for asking. He kept going. Was my man from Seattle, the running back?
Marshawn Lynch.
Yeah. I can see a lot of these guys just saying thank you for asking, but that was the run for that. Yeah, but Coach, I know you're you're mostly focused on the game, so I don't know if you necessarily focused on halftime shows. But was there a halftime show that caught your interest that you liked?
Yeah. I'm old school, man. Prince, Michael.
There you go.
Dr. Dre, Snoop and Mary. I like, the show, like a little variety. I ain't into the little, I like to see, my top artists. I would just go Prince.
Yeah. I'll definitely put Prince up there. I'll put Beyonce's. I liked hers and Bruno's. I thought Bruno was. I know to this day that's my wife's favorite. Was
he didn't even make the top 10 in sports. They did a little. I think.
No, they did a ranking.
Yeah, he didn't even make that top 10.
Wow. Now we were very very entertained by it, but let's get to this game. I mean, obviously this is going to be I'm looking at the line. The line is Kansas City is the favorite by 1.5. The over under is I think 48 and a half. So again, very competitive going in. Two very different styles, very at play here. So we can just kind of go and just break this game down based on what you've seen, because I haven't really heard a lot from this 2-week period. No major stories. Everyone seems like they're going to be coming in relatively healthy. No major stories. It's not like, what was that when that Super Bowl back when Atlanta played Denver, and you had the guy got caught in some scandalous stuff at the game, some distractions like that. So you haven't heard any drama coming out. So hopefully it will be about the game. But you got Patrick Mahomes going for the three-peat, and like I said, I think if he does get the three-peat, he'll be to me he's the GOAT if he gets the three-peat. And mind you, he's only going to be 29 years old should he get this done. So we don't know when it's going to end. Even if Andy Reid and all that, he could still have another, just like Tom Brady. It took him 10 years before he won another one. There may still be more in his future. So again, he's going for the greatness. This is a rematch. So again, you got a lot of different stories here. What's story? Let's start with Dante and let's go around. What story is getting you best? Who do you like? And let's just save, as far as our picks, save that for the sort of the closing and towards the end of the show. We can all give our picks who wins the game. But what are you looking at most for this game, and what do you think is going to be the difference of the factors that we need to be watching? So start with Dante and let's go around.
Okay, for me, I'm really interested in seeing Saquon Barkley and how he performs. He's undoubtedly, I would say, they had a list, and I was trying to find it, of the ranking of the players. He's the second best player in the Super Bowl. Mahomes is one. I'm really interested to see what their game plan is for him. I would say they should look to try to get him involved running and passing. And both games, just, hey, keep him involved. I want to say at least 20-plus touches for him in the game. And I want to see how Philadelphia has the great defensive line, and they have the good linebacker, Zach Bond, that he admits to All-Pro, and they got a secondary that's pretty good. I want to see how they're tested against Travis Kelce. That's what I'm really looking forward to.
All right, Shawnee, what about you?
My thing is, one stat I found out today that Patrick Mahomes is a perfect 8-0 against Vic Fangio's defense.
Yes.
So that, I'm like, and people are saying like, well, the Eagles have a better defense. They got more talent this time around. I'm like, I'm pretty sure he has some good defense that the other 8 times they just could not figure out Mahomes. And for like the third straight year, the team on the opposite end, they generally came in with they came in with a better roster, the better team per se compared to the Chiefs. Because the Chiefs really just haven't been the same, that scary offense, whatnot, since Hill left. Now they have a good defense, but the teams that they've seen in the Super Bowl these past 3 seasons, they was looked at as the better team as well. They came in as with the better roster, but of course Chiefs the first 2 times proved everybody wrong. So that the whole Mahomes versus Fangio defense, that was one storyline, but the Chiefs defense, I saw so far this playoff, they gave up, 150 or between 150 and 160 yards rushing the game this playoffs. Barkley already has over 400 by himself.
Mm-hmm.
So you going to, because I remember the game versus Texans, Joe Mixon was having a good game versus them. And, I believe we was talking about it when the Bills was playing them, that we believe that that Cook should have been getting the ball a little bit more because he was having success for them. But you already know what Philly going to do because they O-line going to bring the run game. The way they can open up holes, and it looks like with the Chiefs' defense, they giving up over 150 yards rushing. I think it's going to be, if you look at the stats, and, I'm looking at the Eagles, but I guess, Mr. Ben, like you always say, when we always go back to the field versus Mahomes, who's going to get this 3, how you always pick Mahomes is because you just don't pick against that dude. I don't care what, I don't care what's the obstacle or not, you just don't pick against Mahomes. Something's going to happen. They got a good defense. They're going to get into Philly, and, I just think Philly has the game plan, what you saw in the earlier playoffs, that they should be able to pull it off. But Chiefs, they just know how to game plan versus in big-time games. That's basically what it is.
Coach, what are your thoughts on the game? What are the keys to the game? What matchups are you looking at?
One thing that I think makes the Chiefs scarier this year is that they've added more dynamic receivers. Their run game is just average, maybe 50, 60 yards, but then you have, Hopkins, and then you have Worthy, who's coming into his own. They have 6 receivers that can go over 100 yards. I can see that happen. So that balances out their running. And then you have Patrick Mahomes with his ability to read defenses and see the field. And the coach, his ability to call plays in critical moments. He knows exactly what play to call. I think it's going to come down to Philadelphia's head coach. He's panicked before. He's going to have to make the right play. He can't keep up with Andy Reid's play calling. He's going to have to run the ball. If Saquon doesn't run the ball 20 times, Philadelphia loses almost by double figures. They're going to have to do what got them there. And both receivers are going to have to get at least 10 attempts apiece. Because I've seen, games where, like the last game, who was that got the most. The game before, he had to read a book just to stay under control. Then the next game, he got a lot of attempts. So it's going to have to be a balanced attack. Philadelphia has to do what they've done to get them there. They cannot keep up with Kansas City's, play calling. Just do what you do. Give the ball to Saquon at least 20 times. And I think they have a good shot. If they start coming out pass heavy, it's going to be over early. So you're going to be able to, you ain't even going to watch the halftime show. You're going to be outside the backyard playing with the kids or something. So they're going to have to put the ball and just stay consistent, So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah, I got you. Yeah, I think with the case here, I think they're gonna game plan to make Hurts beat him. Now, again, I think that's doable because, again, I'm seeing A.J. Brown, and he's, the NFC Championship game, he was beasting. I don't know if Kansas City has anybody who can cover him one-on-one. So whatever package or scheme that they're going to have to keep him in check, but A.J. can be very dominant in this game. And if he is, then that's certainly going to help Saquon Barkley to get off as well. So I think Kansas City really with the scheme here, I think the offense for the Eagles is better certainly than the last time that they had met. And A.J. Brown has certainly emerged as certainly an elite, just his size is that a lot of guys just can't deal with. And again, who's going to cover him? So I think that's the matchup to watch. I mean, the line, the O-line of the Eagles is much bigger. I was looking at some stat. The average weight of their line is like 325 pounds or something like that. I mean, so these are big guys who like pushing people around. The tush push that they do, they're very good at it. Unlike with Buffalo when they tried to do it, certainly was not nearly as effective. But I don't think Philly's going to really struggle in that area. But I think they're going to make Hurts. Hurts is going to have to make some of those throws that keep the chains moving and certainly keep Mahomes off the field. And if he can make those throws, then yeah. And I think neither team could afford to turn the ball over. I think certainly turnover wise, I think that was really the difference in the last Super Bowl. I think Philly had a turnover and Kansas City didn't. And that was really the difference in the ball game. So
the fumble that they returned for a touchdown. That was the key swing in the game.
Yeah. So again, very evenly matched teams. Again, they're going to do it a little bit different, but at the end of the day, it's Mahomes. I mean, this is Michael, this is MJ, this is the guy who doesn't matter. The guy plays with one leg. The guy he just finds a way to win. His only kryptonite in his career has arguably been the GOAT, which is Tom Brady. Tom Brady beat him twice in the AFC Championship game and the Super Bowl, and that's it. And so until somebody else can step up, and I know Joe Burrow got him once, but until you beat that, so clearly you got the best player on the field. You arguably have the better coach, arguably. And if he wins another one, he's going to go up there in terms of the pantheon of great coaches. Maybe not Belichick, but certainly you talk about Shula or Chuck Noll and those guys. He's going to have to start being mentioned, certainly in that category of players. And again, the defensive coordinator. Again, he finds a way. He puts stuff together to win. But I don't think he can't let Saquon get loose. But even then, it's hard to play a guy who plays like a video game. So if he gets an OP, if he breaks one, he breaks one. I mean, that's just I don't think you can defend for that when he does the shifting and the 360 moves and jumping over guys and things like that. If he has one of those kind of crazy runs, then things could can get out of hand quickly. But that's why I'm seeing it. I think this is for Hurts and also for his legacy. Because again, if he loses 2 Super Bowls to the same team and going against the same quarterback, then what does that do for his legacy? And would he be considered, no matter how long he plays, legacy, Hall of Fame, whatever credentials that are there? Can he get over the hump, or is he going to be remembered like the Jim Kelly from Buffalo? Or even for a time, even John Elway before he finally won 2 at the end of his at the end of his career. So he's playing for a lot more as well. So again, this is as tightly contested. A lot of things at play here. That I'm just looking forward to just a great game. And I'll definitely be with some boys. We're going to be going to my boy's house. He's got a big projector, so he's going to have like 100-inch projector screen. So we're going to be, definitely checking the game out and everything. So yeah, definitely looking forward to it. But certainly as we come to the end of
Mr. Bennett, I want to touch on the thing that you brought up about Hurts' legacy if he was to lose his game. I don't think his legacy would take that much of a hit. Because you remember when he lost to Mahomes the first time, he actually outplayed Mahomes.
Mm-hmm.
It was just it was a penalty or call or something like that. It gave the Chiefs an extra life towards the end. But if he were lose this game, both of them came at the hands of Mahomes. Well, 2 other quarterbacks who always talking about their legacy with Jackson and Allen. Allen in particular, did Allen lose to Burrow one time?
Yes.
Okay,
I believe so. Yeah, they got destroyed.
Yeah, so Allen, for the most part, besides minus that one, I remember he lost to the Texans one year too with Deshaun Watson, but that was early Allen. He had 2 losses versus Mahomes, and he actually played well in both games. But Jackson, he had his losses versus Mahomes. He also had his losses versus other quarterbacks who were not, they weren't on Mahomes or Burrow level. So I think if Hurts happened to lose in the Super Bowl, at least he was able to make it to the Super Bowl. Now I understand he's on the NFC and the others have to go through Mahomes to get to the Super Bowl, but he basically was able to get there, and he shined. Well, so far in the first Super Bowl, he's able to shine. With if the way Jackson and Allen kind of looking like at it right now, especially more Jackson than Allen, because Jackson is like, okay, now we seeing you getting all these regular season success, but your postseason, and that's all people look at now. They say we already know you're gonna dominate the regular season, but your postseason now, and the fact that you can't get by Mahomes, but there's some other quarterbacks who are nowhere near Mahomes' caliber that you lost to, and the only ones he beaten was QBs that you beat a rookie, C.J. Stroud. I forgot. Basically, quarterbacks that was like, maybe Stroud was the highest quarterback that he beaten, because the other ones he beaten was like mediocre QBs. And Russell Wilson, who was on the downside of his career, and there was another quarterback that I want to say Ryan Tannehill, but he lost against the Titans one year when they had a number one seed.
Yeah.
So
he lost. Yeah, he lost to them once, and I think he beat him once. He beat him that next year.
Ryan Tannehill
where he had the one seed, and it's just like I think they lost.
Are we? Maybe I'm, overthinking. I thought I heard something. Are we saying that their whole season is going to determine their Hall of Fame careers?
No.
Well, not so much Hall of it. Well, their legacy. I mean,
legacy.
You have to,
all first bid Hall of Famers, all of them, whether they win or not, as long as they keep winning out and if they end their career with winning records, go to NFC championships, whatever. All of them go to.
I think Hurts.
Hurts needs to be seen, but what we're talking about more so is I didn't like the way Deion said it. Somebody should have kind of cleaned it up, but it's kind of like when you let certain players in, or not let them in, but if you earn your rights to the Hall of Fame, there's certain wings, there's certain guys.
Yeah, there's the Hall of the very good. There's the Hall of the very good, and then there's the Hall of Fame. Where you talking about were you considered in your time the best? And I got to say even right now, Hurts, he's not necessarily the reason why they're there. You know what I'm saying? It's not like has he outplayed all these others? Has he outplayed? Who would you rather have? Would you rather have him versus Burrow, him versus Allen, or certainly him versus Mahomes? I think that, that's pretty clear. So is he mentioned in that upper echelon? But if you want to talk about, all pro status, I mean, talk about you were considered the best in your era. And I don't know if he has, because even Stafford has a Super Bowl victory. So again, his Hall of Fame may be more locked in than Hurts is currently at this time. And it took a while even for a guy like Jim Kelly. I don't know if he got in on first ballot. I don't know if he came in later on. But again, went to 0-4 in Super Bowls. I think that matters. And especially for Hurts, who's not, cause even going to this one, we already know it's Saquon is the offense. Yeah. So again, he's not going to be even known for for this run. And we hear that term game manager, and he may wear that badge. So he may need a win in order to be mentioned in a Hall of Fame conversation.
Yeah. He needs that. He needs the numbers. I'm gonna put it like this, Coach, and I say this at the perfect time for you. I got the top 10 list. I don't have the full list of how they rank like the players from both teams, but Patrick Mahomes is number 1, Barkley's number 2, Chris Jones is number 3, Creed Humphrey's number 4. That's the center for the Chiefs. The guard who's now playing tackle for the Chiefs, he's number 5. So stop me when you hear Jalen Hurts' name. Jalen Carter is number 6. The defensive tackle. Number 7 is Lane Johnson, offensive tackle. 8 is A.J. Brown. 9 is Trent McDuffie. And 10 is Travis Kelce. This is a pure indictment of he is a bus driver. If I told Mr. Bennett said it, so I don't want to sound like the Cowboy guys. Oh, he's hating. No, he is a bus driver for this team. What I will say is, and I know it's about he's a bus driver. What I will say is one thing that has frustrated me about Jalen Hurts, and he does this. And I want to say for my Texas Longhorns, Sam Ehlinger did this. He does not let the running backs get the short goal line touchdown. If so, just take 6 to 8 of his push touchdowns and give those to Saquon Barkley. He has a stronger argument for the MVP because when running backs get over 2,000 yards, that's basically what it takes to get the MVP. It is a quarterback award. I will stand on that. I will stand on that hill until things change. That has killed his argument. He can be offensive player of the year, but he's not going to get MVP because of that.
Dante, you need to go talk to the coaches. They calling the plays.
They need to, but as the quarterback, the quarterback can clearly say the quarterback with a $200 million contract can say, "Hey, give it to my." Barkley's not going to say he's too selfless. He can clearly say, "Hey, I know we got the push. Let's get Barkley the ball." He can even change the play. He can pull away the team and change the play.
Is Archie Manning in the Hall of Fame?
No.
Fran Tarkenton?
Yes.
Fran's in there. I know he's
0 for 4 in the Super Bowl. Only thing he could do was scramble. So if these
I won't speak on that error. I can't. I wouldn't.
But I'm just saying, if these players win out their careers, and let's just say they have a 555 record, over 500 record, they all going to be first ballots at the end of their career. Now,
you keep saying first ballot. So you say right now. You're saying right now, Jalen Hurts is a first ballot Hall of Famer?
I'm not saying right now. He still has years to go. Right now, no. But he's going to be at the end of their career, whether they win a Super Bowl or not. All of them go. Every quarterback.
Well, again, if he can, God willing, he stays healthy and stay the course. I would say right now, he's not a Hall of Famer. Pagic's already punched his ticket. He's in. You can even make a case maybe even Lamar Jackson might be
you can put in there. Josh Allen, no. Burrow,
Jackson,
no.
I would say Jackson. Yeah.
Jackson, maybe.
Multiple MVPs.
He's going to be 3-time MVP. Yeah.
Nobody he'll make it, but that's it. Nobody else is.
Well, I put it like this about what Hurts. Hurts basically is in the situation by far this year because of Saquon Barkley. I just looked at just on his passing yards and his passing touchdowns. He's ranked 20th on both of them. See, Barkley, when you think of the Eagles, yes, okay, you think of Hurts because he's the quarterback. He's a starting quarterback. But you think of Barkley. Barkley is their main weapon. That's the main weapon that they've been riding when, because remember, they started off kind of slow. And then they started giving it to Barkley, and that's when they really started taking off in the season. And he eclipsed over 2,000 yards this year. With the Ravens, Derrick Henry he had over 1,900 yards rushing, but you're still looking at Jackson because Jackson was still delivering. So even though Derrick Henry normally will lead the league in rushing, Jackson is still potentially an MVP winner. Right now, if you believe in odds, they still got Allen the favorite, but Jackson is up there. Hurts is nowhere near there because as far as this year, they rolled the back of Saquon Barkley. So, and you remember, and then also Jalen Hurts got to go with that stink of a season last year, how they went. When they started off, 10-0? 10-1?
Lost down the street.
And just went on like a 6-game losing streak to lose the rest of the regular season, and then end up losing to the Buccaneers in the playoffs. So, Hurts have a long way to go to prove that he can even get his name in Hall of Fame mentions. Because right now, he had that good season when he was like an MVP candidate, but he has not had a season like that. He's been a solid quarterback. But just because you're a solid quarterback don't make you a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. Because I could think of other solid quarterbacks. Hell, Brock Purdy has been outperforming Jalen Hurts, and nobody gonna put him right now.
Yeah, so right, he's basically He's basically Brock Purdy. Yeah, at this point. So until he wins one, I think because again, and he's not gonna light up the stats. He's not throwing for 4,000 yards or 5,000 yards. He's not gonna throw for 50. He's not gonna wow you with his stats in the in the season. So yeah, so I think a win is going to be essential for his legacy. So it does matter. Although I would say, look, it's time to put Jim Plunkett in the Hall of Fame, 2 Super Bowl titles or whatever, put him in, Super Bowl winning quarterback, so he needs to be in there. But they put Tom Flores in there a couple years ago, so now Jim Plunkett, he needs.
I don't really know how those people be voting.
He needs to get
it's
into.
Just writers who know they got the ultimate gatekeeper pen.
Yes, it's crazy.
They're not voting with their feelings; they voting with the stats.
Baseball is worse, though. Baseball is worse.
Baseball is by far the worst. I would say basketball. I wish they were a little stricter, a little tighter. Some guys, but basketball, what happens is guys play those
basketball.
They play those extra years. They play those extra years, and then their averages get cut down. So you got to look at guys in their prime. Like if you look at kids' numbers, it's that overall. If you look at his prime, the guy was phenomenal as a point guard. He definitely changed teams the way you see what Chris Paul does. That's what I'm talking about, the impact and seeing it. But I know I saw a few comments in the chat, CJ. CJ, I appreciate you checking us out again, man.
Yeah, and shout out for the CJ for the super chats. He gave us $5 super chat and $2. So again, we appreciate you, CJ, for your contribution on that as well.
That.
Yeah.
I totally agree with the roster thing. It's the roster. But you call it Luka the 270. Man, he's another one. He's a part of my sports group.
And he's only 6'7", 6'6", 6'7"?
He's 6'7".
6'7" and 270.
Yeah.
Who's that?
That's a
Luka.
That's a 4. Oh. That's a 4. But yeah, Chris Jones in the interior, because what he tends to do is he more so turns it up against the run in the second half. Shawnee was talking about that a week or two ago. We was giving a breakdown. He's gonna have to find a way. Hey, you're gonna have to get it. You're gonna have to get some negative plays, because the best way to stop the push from happening, put them in 3rd and 5. Keep them in 3rd and 5. Keep them in 3rd and 6. 3rd and 4 maybe. Once it gets to 3, then if they get yardage, then they're gonna run it, and it's really tough to stop. Even though they showed a tendency to stop it, I know with the extra prep time, I know that they have looked at how to stop that this week. But man, it's.
And just a final key to the game as we come towards the end of the show and giving our final thoughts and picks. Again, with Kansas City, it always comes down to the other team winking. All their wins, if you look at them, somebody blinked. So last year, that was the strangest game. San Francisco, again, turnovers early. I think McCaffrey had a turnover early in the game. Mm-hmm. Then the starting linebacker for the 49ers, he's coming into the game off the sideline and tears his Achilles just getting up. I mean, it's just stuff that happens in these games that just somehow, the other team does something that Kansas City does not do. So, again, as long as Kansas City does what Kansas City does, I can't see them losing. But Philly, it's almost like they make you play mistake-free football. It could be something. It could be a personal foul. It could be a roughing. And, again, people already been talking about in the chat, will the refs be involved? Will we still be talking about the refs after this game, since that's also the narrative going in? Chiefs get all the calls or whatnot. But, again, it could be one of those that keeps the drive going. Mahomes going out of bounds and someone touches them and then they give a 15. It could be any one of those things. But it's just like in these games, you mentioned the pick six fumble from the last time they played. It's like if Philly's going to have that pressure to say, like, we cannot make a mistake in this game, that is hard for anybody to overcome. They almost got it last time, but that turnover was the difference. And Kansas City just does not make those kind of turnovers or those kind of mistakes or whatever in games. They just don't. They just keep it together. I mean, as you saw the tight end bumping Reed last year. Last year in the game, they had a little riff on the sideline or whatever. But then once they got to go over that, they kind of went on to business. Again, they don't get rattled in the game, and that's just a lot of pressure to have to play over when you think we can't make a mistake. And a lot of times when you play like that, then you typically make one. It's in your head at that point.
I'll say this in reference to this Super Bowl, which I'm having concern about all the players. It's on turf this year.
Don't what?
The Super Bowl on turf.
Oh yeah, it's on turf. Yeah.
So I'm just interested to see how both those teams, since they home fields are grass, how they play on turf, because turf makes you a little faster. So it's going to be interesting to see who has the speed.
Well, it would certainly benefit Saquon, but I think I thought I saw something earlier. Patrick Mahomes' record indoors is like it's ridiculous. So yeah, so I mean they may rule each other out. I mean, yeah, it'll be a faster surface for Saquon. We also, when he won for like 300 yards against the Rams or something like that, he had two or three 60-yard runs or something like that. So yeah, you may get him all, but Patrick, you know, if he don't have the elements to worry about, it's gonna be something. But let's select our picks. Who wins the game? If you have a score in mind, do you take the point again? The game right now, Kansas City -1.5. So again, this is basically almost like a pick'em game, pretty much. So yeah, definitely for sure. CJ had a final question. Yes, it's that if KC wins Sunday, is Mahomes over Brady? Well, definitely over Peyton. That's not even a count. He's over Peyton now. I'm saying if he wins the three-peat, and let's just say he's the Super Bowl MVP also, he's the GOAT. I'll just put him there. I know Brady's got 7. I get that, but at 29, he's certainly the greatest quarterback I've ever seen in my lifetime. And so I think, but Manning, but Peyton, absolutely. He's over him now. It's not even contest.
And I'll stand on the point of, even though he doesn't have as many championships, I will stand on the table for this. Those early Super Bowls, at least the first 2, Tom was as we were talking about with Hurts, which is nothing wrong with being a bus driver.
Yeah,
he was the game manager.
He made sure Seymour and all those guys
to win. Ty Law, Lloyd Miller, all those guys helped win those early ones, and then he came on a caught stride, and especially after they went with the drought. And I will say what the likenesses is, Mahomes isn't taking the TB12 route where they're kind of like circumventing the cap, which that's a topic for a dead sports day. But they did give him a long-term extension. He's getting the big money, but they can manipulate the cap with it better. If he wins this one with the 3-peat, and ever since you've hit the league, you have been the impact of why they elevated to this level. Something has to be said for that. I just think that's a point worth making. I know a friend of mine made a stat that Brady has a winning record versus every team in the NFL. And that's just something as far as his GOAT status, where it's just like, hey, he's got a long way to go.
I saw that graph.
Yeah, it's like he's got a long way to go to get here. And it's kind of like when you start making those type of posts, now it's kind of like you can feel them clicking on his heel, because it's like you're looking at like, hey, we're watching this in real time, and people are kind of like, is this real?
Yeah, absolutely. All right, so Dante, so who you got? Let's just go around and let's wrap up.
You can put me last, but obviously not going for the Eagles, but I do think the Chiefs have just enough. I think they win it with a field goal. I think they win it with a late field goal.
All right, Coach. I think you just put yours in it.
No, I'll just comment on the De'Aaron Fox.
Oh, okay. So
I'm going to say, just to go against the grain, Philly 28-24.
All right, Shawnee.
I'm going to say Philly, and not because of Mahomes, but because of that defense. Like I mentioned, they giving up over 150, 60 yards a game, and the way the Eagles' run game has been looking like all season, where they can create holes. If they could just stick to that formula and just keep the ball away from that offense as much as possible, then they should win just because of that. Because normally, I'll feel different if they came in with the defense they had last year, but they don't. Their defense is giving up the run, and now you're giving up against the best rushing team in the NFL, and the holes that they can create, it's massive, the holes that Barkley has when he breaks one.
All right, guys, go back to the show from a year ago. I picked Kansas City against the field. Go back from day one. So I'm 1 win away. Obviously, I'm not jumping off the boat now. So yes, I think Kansas, in spite of everything that Shawnee said, everything that Coach said, Patrick Mahomes, to be the man, you got to beat the man. Patrick Mahomes, especially if he has the ball in his hands at the end of the game, he wins this game. Kansas City 27, Eagles 23. Patrick Mahomes is the GOAT. And then is we'll see how great his legacy is, because again he would have for the guys talking about the Packers, I don't want to hear about the 1965, 66, 67 Packers. They just stopped playing with leather helmets back then, right? So again, you had 8 teams in the NFL at that point. So again, stop with the comparisons. Yes, they won the first 2 Super Bowls, but again, you can't count that 65 championship. I'm sorry, this is the Super Bowl era. So please, for those who keep saying, well, the Packers three-peated. Yes, 3 NFL championships, fewer teams, not as competitive. So again, I can't. As great as Lombardi is, and he's the Lombardi, he's the man on the trophy. I get that, and arguably deservedly so. There were some people saying, well, should the Super Bowl be renamed after Brady? No. I'm saying you can give the Super Bowl MVP award. The Super Bowl MVP, yes, you can name that after Tom Brady. But the Lombardi Trophy, I got to give it to Lombardi. I've watched almost every video I possibly could on the guy, and certainly he was part of when the NFL really became America's game in the 50s. That 58 championship game with the Giants, and then the Super Bowl era and whatnot. So yeah, so I say keep Lombardi there. And his name on the trophy, but again, I'm not counting those championships in the Super Bowl era. So again, Patrick Mahomes, he would be the rightful person to say, 3-time Super Bowl champion, 3-peat. That's the one that counts. So appreciate you guys being in here tonight. Again, we're already a little over time, so that'll be our closing thoughts for tonight. I know there's some boxing over the weekend. Shout out to Clarissa Shields, 4-time champion. Now she's the new heavyweight champion, and at the end of the fight, she landed that shot. Now she ain't knocked the girl out, all right, but it was a pretty vicious shot. She had to knock a tree down in order to do that. So again, shout out to her. She is the GOAT of all time, and so she's doing her thing. But definitely looking forward to the game. Looking forward to chopping it up. Certainly afterwards, I think it's going to be an exciting game. So you guys enjoy it, however you guys want to enjoy it. Take Monday off if you can. I'm gonna see if I can finagle that this year. I want to, I think the day after the Super Bowl should be a national holiday for people. So again, we can all campaign on that. But with that, guys, certainly for myself, Mr. Bennett, for Dante, for Shawnee, for Coach Ferg, you guys have a blessed week. Take care. God bless, and we'll see you next time. Good night.
Peace.
Peace out.